So hi guys, in this video we are going to see OOPS. So we'll see OOPS, what is OOPS concept and what is the part of OOPS, that is classification of OOPS. So if you'll go here, OOPS means whatever we will write the code for any project or any program. So OOPS full form is object oriented programming. It means object oriented. Everything will be object. So our programming will be written in such a way that everything is a object oriented. So that's why this is called OOPS concept. So suppose we have to write some code, or we are writing some code for any project. That project is handling the students one. So in that one we'll create a student class. So a student class will have all the information and characteristic of a student, like a student have name, their roll number, their class, their address, their phone number, their email ID. So that class will have all these characteristic, that is properties, and they have their behavior also. Behavior means their method, method or function we can say. So method behavior means a student can walk, a student can study, a student can write, a student can play. So these are the behaviors. So these are the functions that a student can have. So that's why we'll create one class that is that will be used to create the object of that student, and that object will have all the property and behavior of the student. So property means characteristic of a student, behavior that is functionality of that students. So OOPS can be classified into majorly. There are some part also. So OOPS is basically yeah. So OOPS basically majorly defined in 4 parts. So someone will ask you, how do we implement OOPS concept? So OOPS is not directly concept. If you want to implement the OOPS concept, so there are some sub concept, like we have to create the class, we have to create the object of that class, we have to write the function, we have to create the property of that class. Then there are some 4 major, we can say these are the 4 pillar of object oriented programming. If you want to implement object oriented, then you have to use these concept. So first one is polymorphism. So polymorphism is, if you will break down the polymorphism words, there is two words, poly and morphism. Poly means many, morphism is forms. So means one functionality whatever we will write, that functionality we will act differently in different situation. So I will show you how it's acting different in different situation. So one functionality or one function we will write that will act different in different situation. So this concept is called polymorphism. Second one is inheritance. So inheritance basically the concept of inheritance is being used to implement the code reusability. So suppose we have written some code for some functionality, and we have to implement the same functionality once again. So we are not going to write again all the code. Suppose one function I have written for the sending the email, I have written a function somewhere. Okay, this function is sending the email, it will take the subject and all these things, email ID and everything, it will send the emails again. For someone other one also, suppose in a student management system, if we have written one function that will send email to a student, that's okay. Now we are going to include the teacher one. So we are not going to write one more function that will send email to teacher. Simply we will use the same code for teacher also. So by changing all the things like subject or email ID or all these things, by changing these things, the same functionality will be implemented for teacher, and it will send email to teacher. So this functionality is being implemented by using inheritance. So inheritance basically this concept is being used to this concept will be used for code reusability. Third one, yeah. So third one is encapsulation. What is that encapsulation? So capsule, if you are in go in the medical terms, it's a capsule. So capsule, if you see the capsule, it will have their medical ingredients that is wrapped up in a plastic one. that is biodegradable plastic, but all the medical components is wrapped up inside plastic. So similar to this one also, all the data that we will send or communicate, means whatever data we will keep with us, or same data if we are we are trying to communicate with some other function, so we will give the same data to other function. So whatever data we will communicate or we will keep, that all data will be wrapped up as a class one. So it won't means basically simply कि okay, I'm sending some student name, so okay, take it, a student name is Sanjeev, just take it. No, we are not going to. We simply will put that student name inside the object, and then we'll give the object to anyone, so that all the property of particular class will be wrapped up inside object. So this concept is called encapsulation. So we are encapsulating the all the data in object one. So this concept is called encapsulation. And there is one more concept, this is called abstraction. What does it mean by abstraction? So abstraction, if you will see, you might will a little bit confused, or you have a clear thought about this thing. So encapsulation or abstraction, these two are little bit confusing words. So encapsulation, at the name itself saying it will encapsulate, it will means basically hide the data. Whatever data we want to send, that will be hidden, that will be wrapped up inside object. So it will hide the data from outside. I'm giving you that is object. If you want to access their data, so you need to fetch the data from that object. That object have data, but you won't see the data from outside. If I'm saying I'm sending anyone okay, without wrapping the data, I'm giving you Sanjeev. So Sanjeev directly, that word you can say okay, you have sent me Sanjeev, so this is the data actually. But if I will put that Sanjeev inside any object, and then I will give you that object, so what you will say, you will see, you won't see object that Sanjeev data, because that is wrapped up by object. So you will get one object. Once you will fetch the data from that object, like get name, then you will get the Sanjeev. So this is called data hiding. What is this abstraction? So abstraction in single word we'll say this is detail hiding. So detail hiding means, suppose we have written a API. API basically full form of API is application programming interface. We will see later in detail what is API and how we'll write that API. So API basically we have written one API, or just forgot about API. We have written function. That function will send an email. So it will ask for some parameter like subject, what are email ID, from email ID to email ID, whatever parameter required. So it will ask for that parameter, it will take the data, and then it will send the data, send the email to particular email ID, give your email ID. So if we are giving this functionality, someone wants to send the email ID, and he asked me okay, can I use your functionality, or he is a part of our project only, he is saying I have to send an email ID, so you have implemented the function name for email sending the email ID. Yes, of course we have implemented. So how will means basically that call one. So we are going to give him signature basically what is the function name, what it will return, what it will take the as a parameter. So we are going to give that signature only that guy. Okay, simply you call this function by passing all the parameter, it will send the data. We are not going to give him the complete detail okay, we have implemented, if you will get the if you will pass the parameter, then we'll get the email ID, then we'll load the third party API, basically jar file for the third party, then we'll pass the login with the email ID ASMTP or whatever server we are using. So we'll log in, then we'll say setting the two all the means basically internal details, how we are sending the data. So we don't want to give that detail to anyone. So that's why this concept is called abstraction. So how abstraction is basically implemented, I'm going through in short, in detail we'll go later. So short one, basically what we'll do, we create one interface. So interface will have their abstract method, all the abstract method, it won't have body, it will have basically that signature, pass return type, function name, parameter what it will pass. So we will implement that abstract method in our class by extending the implementing that interface. So we'll write that functionality. If someone will try to ask, means someone will someone wants to access our function, we are not going to give him the complete class, we are going to give him API, that is abstract interface. So in interface he will get okay, these all are the functionality that we can call. So here we can say ki detail we have already hidden ki okay, whatever detail is there, that is in class file, but we are giving interface. So in interface you won't get any detail. So that's why this concept is called abstraction. And abstraction in single word, if you say this is detail hiding, this is data hiding. So just write down what is this. So these are the abstraction. In basic one you are aware, now you got the idea about what is the basic one, or what is object oriented, what is polymorphism, what is inheritance, what is encapsulation, and what is abstraction. Let's go in detail. So firstly we'll pick polymorphism. What is polymorphism? So polymorphism, name itself saying it will act same function, whatever function we will write, same function will act different in different situation. So what does it mean by different in different situation? So let's go. I'm writing one code. So this is basically one more thing, just it's a suggestion for you. So whenever you are writing your code, your class name should be starts with capital letter. Whatever class name you want to give, that should be capital letter, and it's not a rule. If you will give a small letter also, it will work, but this is a standard practice. If you go in the interview and everyone is writing class name as a small one, and you have written the class name with capital one, it will make impact on interviewer. Okay, this guy know the best practices. If you're using writing code for anything, so you should aware about the what are the best practices. That's why you should use any class. Means suppose we want to create class name that have two words, like a student union. So in that word, in that case, student, a student union, something like this. So our class exists with two words. One is a student, second one is union. So both one will give first letter as a capital, and we are not going to use any special symbol like underscore, hyphen, or a star or anything. Nothing, no. So it's a small suggestion for you guys. So we are going to implement inheritance in this one. Are you sure we are going to inherit? Okay, polymorphism, sorry. So this is polymorphism. What we'll do, we will write two function, that is so this function name is so. We'll write one more so function, but this time it will ask for a string. It will accept one data, one parameter. So both function name is so. If I'm trying to call this function, So this function I'm calling from here. How it will decide which function it will call? So while writing the code only, I am saying I want to call so function that won't accept any parameter, means it won't take any parameter. So once I will compile this file, that time only it will almost decided, not almost, it's a completely decided okay, this function is being going to call. Reason, you are not passing any parameter. And if you are aware about that JVM structure, so you know how it will load the class and then it will assign the memory and everything. So that time only it will be clear only you are going to call this function. Suppose I passed one parameter. Now I didn't change anything, this line of code is same, this functionality are same, just I passed one parameter. Now it's going to call this function. So same function will acting different in a different way. Suppose in both line I have written just printing a parameter. Suppose we have implemented different logic in both function. In this function without parameter, this is different logic or different functionality, and this one different functionality. It may be both will have different functionality. So whenever we are calling, it will sometimes according to our parameter or something, sometimes it will call this one, sometimes it will call this one. So this concept is called, means it will act simple many form, means basically according to scenario it will act different. So sometimes it will call this one, sometimes it will call this one, and this is called polymorphism, many forms. So this concept is called polymorphism. So I think you are aware of that, and you are the basic definition. So polymorphism also is being defined in two way. So if we'll go here, yeah, so if you'll go here, if I'm passing the parameter or if I'm not passing the parameter, so once this file will be compiled, that time only it will be assured okay, we are going to call this function or this function while compiling only. So this type of polymorphism is being is called compile time polymorphism. Means while compiling of this code only, that time only it got decided which function is being called according to parameter. Suppose this one have one parameter, one more so function is there, and that will ask two parameter. So if I'm passing one parameter, it's decided okay, this needs two parameter and this needs one parameter, so this function is being going to call. If I pass one more function, this time it got decided okay, you have this time this function is going to be called. So logic will be different in all the functionality, maybe according to their requirement, but while compiling of this file only it is decided which function is being going to call. So this concept is called compile time polymorphism. And why it's calling polymorphism, so why it's calling compile time polymorphism, you got it idea, because once we'll compile, this is Java file, so once it will be compiled according to number of parameter. While compile time only it got decided, currently just now we compiled, we didn't run, but while compiling only it's clear which function is being going to call. So that's why it is called compile time polymorphism. So you can say in interview they will ask what are the types of parameter or what are the different types of parameter, how can we differentiate polymorphism or these things. Sorry, I told parameter, it's okay. So what are the different types of polymorphism? So you can say okay, compile time polymorphism, but why this is being called as a compile time polymorphism? So if you know this concept, while compile time only it will be decided which function is going to call, so that's why it's called compile time polymorphism. Second one is run time polymorphism. runtime polymorphism. So runtime polymorphism is basically once we'll compile this file, till then it's not decided which function is being going to call. It will decide at runtime, and that's why it's called runtime polymorphism. So one more thing, this concept, writing same function with different signature and different parameter, this concept is called method overloading, not overriding, overloading. But we can say ki overload, if someone will ask you what is compile time polymorphism, you can start explaining what are the compile time polymorphism, and you can give the example ki method overloading is a type of compile time polymorphism. Some of our students, what they did, usually they do ki whenever someone will ask what are the compile time polymorphism, just forgot about the polymorphism or compile time polymorphism, they simply start explaining method overloading. Of course, method overloading is implementation of compile time polymorphism, but compile time polymorphism is not method overloading only. So just keep it clear only कि if someone will ask what is the compile time polymorphism, you should aware about कि what is the compile time polymorphism and what are the method overloading. Method overloading basically same method having overloaded parameter. So it can be different parameter also, somewhere it can be return type also. So this is also called method overloading. So function name will be same, but either their return type or number of parameter will be different. Or if number of parameter is same, 2 only, then sequence will be matter. Like integer will first, a string will come first, later, then sequence also matter. So this concept is called method overloading. So compile time polymorphism, if we are explaining the method overloading concept, so method overloading is a type of compile time polymorphism. It's not actually. So if you will clear about this lining, what are the polymorphism, compile time polymorphism, or what are the method overloading, so both are, if you're clear, then you can explain it better way. So I think this video is long, so just stop this. Runtime polymorphism will explain in later one. So hope you got what is polymorphism and what is compile time polymorphism especially. In next video we'll see what is runtime polymorphism and why it is called runtime polymorphism. So thank you guys.